How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper, and my goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading while the price is going up or down. Ripple announced on Friday that it intends to acquire Nevada-based Fortress Trust, a Web3-focused financial, regulatory, and technology infrastructure provider. We're excited to bring on this team and its technology to accelerate our business and continue pressing our advantage in the areas critical to crypto infrastructure. Ripple's portfolio of regulatory licenses now includes Fortress's Nevada Trust license. According to Ripple President Monica Long, licenses are a powerful enabler for strong customer experiences. It also allows you to not have to wait years or go through a long process to get those licenses yourself. Acquiring Fortress Trust affords us a lot of opportunity to both improve the customer experience in our existing products and explore new complementary products she added. So this is good, it'll help Ripple expand and get more use cases. More use cases means easier adoption or more likelihood of adoption. Speaking of Ripple, SEC response to Ripple filing doubles down on appeal bid. In a new court filing, the SEC argued that the summary judgment by U.S. District Judge Alyssa Torres in July raised precisely the kinds of knotty legal problems that warranted interlocutory or provisional review by a federal appeals court under the law that allowed certain rulings to be appealed before a case concludes. The judge ruled that only certain institutional sales of Ripple made under investment contracts were unregistered security trades, which is the definition of a security. The crux of Ripple's argument is that the appeal under Section 1292B is not available because the issues for appeal require applying law to undisputed facts in the record, and because the appeal would not terminate the litigation, the SEC said not so. So Ripple's saying, hey, you need law behind this to prove that we are breaking any kind of law. There's no precedent, but the SEC is trying to say, well, we're setting the precedent. The regulator argued that the case law allows appeals court to review district judge's application of legal tests like the one used to determine whether something is a security. It also rejected Ripple's contention that a provisional appeal must completely end a case to be allowed. The SEC fails to establish any of the three conditions required for certification of an interlocutory appeal. This court should follow the Second Circuit's instructions that the use of the law must be strictly limited to the precise conditions stated in the law and deny the SEC's request for certification, Ripple wrote. Fed's Michael Barr, no word on CBDC, and deeply concerned about stablecoins. Barr said Friday at a Federal Reserve Bank of Philadelphia event that he was deeply concerned about the stablecoin issuance without oversight from authorities. That's about a horse apiece. The central bank bigwig also said that the Fed has still yet made no decision on releasing a central bank digital currency. I remain deeply concerned about stablecoin issuance without strong federal oversight. As I mentioned earlier, stablecoins are a form of money, and the ultimate source of credibility in money is the central bank, he said. If non-federally regulated stablecoins were to become a widespread means of payment and store of value, they could pose significant risks to financial stability, monetary policy, and the U.S. payment system, he says. So he's a little worried about his job. On to the charts. We are starting to push away a little bit, nothing too exciting. Our RSI is starting to kind of curl away. It is overall pretty flat though. Our stochastic's still pretty flat. Money flow's coming out slightly more. Our momentum's starting to roll over. Our VWAP's getting close to that neutral and wants to break into the bearish territory, but we don't really have too many significant moves yet today. It's pretty flat, pretty similar to yesterday. We still have that head and shoulders possibility here. We did get a green candle, but it's not one that invalidated us. If we get a red candle to drop us down, we could finish off that support line and then see a candle drop the next day or subsequent days to drop us lower. Our stochastic is starting to roll over. Our RSI is starting to come down. our VWAP is starting to roll over and heading toward the neutral. It is in jeopardy of breaking down and becoming more bearish. Our money flow is in a bearish trend and our momentum is starting to roll out. So we do have possibilities to set up some bearish trends here if we don't get some strong green candles in the next day or two. Over on Bitcoin futures, pretty flat. Looks weird. Pretty flat, hasn't really gone anywhere. From yesterday, our stochastic is running up, RSI is kind of curling over. Our VWAP is running up and our money flow is coming up overall, but is starting to arch out. Our momentum is getting bullish trends with a bullish divergence, but if we get a red candle here, that could drop us even lower. Over on Bitcoin, we haven't really gone anywhere here either. We're pretty flat. Our stochastic is starting to roll over. Our RSI is overall coming down. It is pretty flat though, so we could make a rebound if the stochastic continues with some strength. Our VWAP is curling over and getting close to that neutral, so it wants to break bearish, and we could set up that head and shoulders and break us down then. Our momentum is coming up, but it is starting to roll over as our VWAP is getting close to breaking down. Over on the 4 hour, we have hit our resistance a few times, but the way we're looking, we could Bart Simpson and drop. Our RSI is trying to come up, but our stochastic's losing strength. The money flow has not been able to cross bullish, and it is starting to head down. Our momentum, it was trying to get a green dot there, but if that does not happen, our VWAP may roll over and push lower, and we could get a rejection here. Over on the 2 hour, we are still trying to push straight and bring this out a little bit. Our stochastic's starting to roll over. RSI is coming up, but it is flattening out as that stochastic is losing strength. So if our stochastic starts to roll over, the RSI is likely to lose strength here. The VWAP is in the bullish territory. We are kind of struggling to break above this 8.8 though. So if we don't get above it and get some significant bullish pushes up, we could see a drop down. That candle was a little indecisive. It almost flipped bearish pretty quickly there. Our money flow is starting to come out. So we were coming up trying to go bullish. But if we don't push above this 5.7, negative 5.7 that is, then we could see further bearish action. Our momentum is trying to come up, but it's starting to round away as our VWAP is struggling to maintain strong bullish strength. Over on the 1 hour, you can see we did come above our resistance, but we are coming back below it. So we did not manage to make it our support yet. If we close above it and get a bounce, or we close below it and get a bounce and then get another candle above it, then we could call it support. Our stochastic's starting to kind of roll over, our RSI is starting to roll away, our momentum's starting to roll away, and our VWAP is starting to come down. Our money flow did go bullish slightly, but it's not very strong. We do have a reversal arrow here, so if we get some red candles, that could drop us down as we were in a slight uptrend. Over on graph, we are starting to kind of roll away overall, but we are kind of trying to pump here. We do have a hammer candle, so if we get a green candle here, that would be a bottoming signal. If you're not familiar with these candle patterns, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and join us with those Discord links up above or below in the description. We are getting pretty close to being able to make some models, and once we make those, whoever's in the Discord is going to get some free ones. Our stochastic's starting to roll over, RSI is pretty flat, our money flow is heading up, our VWAP is pretty flat above the bullish territory, so it's not really going anywhere. This could act as a long upper shadow candle if we're not careful. If we see a red candle after it, that could drop us down. Over on the 4 hour, we do have a little bit of a reversal that didn't take us too far down or up. So we're going to have to see if we get some continual red candles. If we get continual red candles, we'll see a roll over and push lower and see this pattern play out. However, if we get some strong green candles and push this resistance and break above it, we could try to invalidate the pattern. Now, stochastic is making a bearish divergence slightly, it is starting to push down, RSI is starting to push down, our momentum is starting to roll over, our VWAP is losing strength, and our money flow is losing strength as well. If the VWAP and money flow flip it to the bearish side here, we could lose the strength to the upside, and we could see another leg down soon. We did have a green dot that wanted to bring us up. We had two of those after a reversal arrow, but that didn't really amount to much. The first one brought us up, but the second didn't. We are dropping from it. Our stochastic is rolling away. RSI is pretty flat. Our momentum is overall coming out. We do have a green dot as the VWAP is trying to push into the bullish territory, but it's not very strong yet. The money flow is making a new high, but it's already coming down, so if it breaks through that neutral, we could see some bearish trends. However, if it makes a higher low, we would start a bullish trend and we could see some further upside. This would be kind of that cup and handle that I said. So there's that cup, there's the handle that would push us above this support resistance here. That is crooked. So there's our kind of trend line. There's where we would go. We would break right above that support resistance area, and that would try to reestablish a trend. If that doesn't manage to hold, we would see this bear flag play out. Our RSI is starting to roll over, stochastic's starting to roll over. The money flow's got strong bullish trends, so that is good for a move forward. The VWAP's pretty flat in the bullish territory, and the momentum's starting to come down. We did have a gap we came down to fill, so that is good that we came down to fill and we're heading up. That could help us see some continual upside, but I would watch for any other gaps to fill. As you've seen with Graph and mostly Anchor, when those gaps form, they do fill, and if they're lower gaps, you'll break down and you won't see a bullish pattern up. So that's kind of what happened to Bitcoin. If you're unfamiliar with the gaps, if you skipped over the futures where we talk about the 20K zone, that would be a severely missed point for you, as we talked about that for quite a long time and we've made half that breakdown. Our stochastic is starting to roll over here on Anchor on the daily. We are pushing our support with a long lower shadow candle. That could be a bullish push up for us if we get a green candle. However, if we get a red candle and break this pattern, we could start a new trend down and fill this wick finally. Our RSI is starting to trend out, our VWAP is starting to trend out, and our money flow is starting to reject away from the neutral zone, so it's continuing bearish momentum even though price is going up. Our momentum is trying to go up, but it's starting to round out as our VWAP is losing strength. Over on the 4 hour here, could be maybe a cup and handle with a really small handle at best, and then a push up to this higher support resistance. We did kind of come up to fill this gap at 19 cents, so that would be the higher gap we had. We did fill it, so if we don't gain bullish support here and push above this line, we would see a breakdown, as we don't really have too much that could bring us forward. We don't have any other higher gaps right now, and it would take Bitcoin and the rest of the market to pump to see any higher price action away from this range most likely. Our stochastic is coming down, our RSI is starting to trend out, our money flow is rejecting away from the neutral, our VWAP is coming up, it is starting to curl away though, so watch out. If we break down, like I said, we would start our bearish trend. Over on the 2 hour, no gaps down, so that's good for stability for this pattern that we have, but our RSI is trending out even though price is going up, so we have a little bit of a bearish divergence there. Momentum's doing the same, our VWAP is doing the same, our money flow is maintaining bullish strength, so if the money flow can maintain bullish strength and the VWAP keeps zigzagging, we may keep zigzagging up. However, we do look a bit overextended here. Over on the 1 hour, we have a reversal arrow. We have a gap here, so that could bring us down to fill that gap. That would bring us to our support line. We do have this lower gap at the 1845, and then our other lower gap at 1807. So like we saw the higher gap fill, we could see those fill. But we could also come up for an, actually we did fill this, so we wouldn't see a run up there, because we did technically fill it. So we do have more bearish action and gaps down. Those gaps down would create bearish pressure for us. Our stochastic's starting to roll over, RSI is starting to roll over, our VWAP is starting to roll over, and it's about to break through the neutral. If it breaks through, we could start a bearish trend, and the money flow could follow it, because the money flow has been very unstable over the last few candles. Our momentum is starting to head down with the red dot as our VWAP's breaking down. Over on XRP for the daily, we are kind of just zigzagging around our point control here. That is our blue line for our volume profile. Our next area, if we do not manage to get a pump from here, would be our value area low. If we broke that value area low, then that would be where we would see our other volume profile come into play, where its value area low is around the bottom of this pattern and the bottom of this line. Our stochastic is trying to come up, our RSI is starting to come out, our VWAP has gone pretty flat, and our money flow is in a little bit of a bearish trend, so watch out. Our momentum does want to come up, but it's not getting too much strength as that VWAP is very indecisive right now. Over on the 4 hour, we are trying to push this resistance line, but we just can't manage to break above it. We could end up Bart Simpson and end up breaking down. Our stochastic is kind of getting weak, even though price is maintaining a similar price. Like price point, we're keeping along this resistance, and our stochastic is starting to inch its way out. That is a little bit of a divergence. Our RSI is a little indecisive, our momentum's starting to round out, our VWAP is touching that support, so if it breaks down, we could see further breakdown. Our money flow is rejecting away from neutral, so that is a bearish trend, and we could see lower price action if this continues. Especially if that VWAP continues to the bearish side as well. That could bring us down pretty quick. Our RSI is pretty flat here on the 2 hour. Our stochastic is coming down, but it wants to bounce, so that is good for us right around that neutral. If it can bounce here, we could see another push up. Our momentum does want to come up as our VWAP keeps zigzagging above that neutral, but it doesn't have very much strong bullish momentum behind it, so it could end up coming down and breaking through. So I would keep an eye on that. Our money flow is in the bearish territory and heading away with a bearish trend, so overall I'd say we have more bearish pressure. Over on the 1 hour, we have manipulation X's in pairs here. That's not good, as usually those break us down. Our stochastic's starting to roll away with bearish divergence, our RSI is starting to come down, and our momentum's starting to roll over. Again, if you don't know what these divergences are, join the Discord, hit the like, and we'll help you out. RSI is starting to roll over, VWAP starting to come down, it is about to break bearish, so we could see a rejection from this area and see lower price action. Over on Algo for the daily, we are pushing down to our support with a manipulation X. We are starting to roll away with bearish pattern. This is a candle pattern. Again, you can see those in our Discord. Our stochastic's starting to roll over, RSI is starting to come down, our VWAP's starting to roll away, and our money flow is starting to reject away from neutral. Our momentum is also starting to come out, so overall, we have more bearish action here than bullish. Our RSI is starting to lose strength here, stochastic's starting to come down. The momentum is starting to roll over, it's pushing pretty decent in the bearish territory, and our VWAP has a bearish trend going. The money flow is about to break bearishly, so we did retrace a lot of the gains that we had, kind of like I warned about, so I hope you took that advice. If you're in any kind of trade, but of course, I'm not a financial advisor. I just try to point out what I see and what I see that could happen. This would be our third touch for this pattern, so we are in jeopardy of breaking down if we continue down. Our RSI is starting to trend out, stochastic's coming down with bearish divergence slightly. Our VWAP is in the bearish territory, it wants to head up. but doesn't really have much momentum to the upside right now. Our momentum is coming down pretty drastically, so overall I'd say we have a lot of bearish pressure right now. Over on the 1 hour, we'll stretch this line out a little bit. We are coming down toward our support. Our RSI is heading out. Our stochastic's coming out. VWAP is starting to reject away from the neutral. If it pushes lower, we could continue a bearish trend and see further downside from here. Our momentum is coming out. It does want to push up as the VWAP tried to go bullish, but if the VWAP rejects away, this momentum could just ride the oversold area. So onto the meme coins, as I promised. Over on the daily, we do have a bit of a symmetrical triangle, which would be a bear pendant for us here on Doge. I believe I might have warned about that, so if you took that advice, then you're probably waiting to see what would happen. So our bear flag possibility is there. Our bull symmetrical triangle, this half-U triangle move could be right there. So our lowest price action could be about 5 cents, and our highest price action could be about 6, 8, almost 7 cents. So that'd be filling either of these wicks. Our stochastic is starting to roll away. Our RSI is starting to come down. Our VWAP does want to go bullish, but it's struggling. Our money flow is starting to reject away, so if the VWAP starts to push down, we could see a breakdown soon, and we could see that lower wick fill. However, if our total starts to bounce, we could get a pump up, and we could see this higher wick fill, but that would take some strong bullish momentum or news. Our stochastic's starting to dump pretty hard here on the 4 hour. RSI is starting to come down. Our momentum's starting to roll away with a red dot. Our money flow has broken into the bearish territory, so we could start a new bearish trend here, which would put us at jeopardy of seeing that breakdown. Over on the 2 hour here, we are coming down. We have a little bit of a bearish pattern here. Our stochastic's coming down. Again, if you don't know those patterns, join us in that Discord and hit the like. Stochastic's coming down. RSI is coming down. That momentum is rolling away. The money flow is starting to trend out. We are in jeopardy of breaking that neutral and heading toward the bearish zone. Our VWAP is on a bear trend, so overall we do have some decent bearish momentum on our side, so that's not too good. We have a few manipulation X's. We do have a slight gap up, so we could come up, fill that gap, and then reject away. Our RSI is starting to come down. Our stochastic has a bearish cross. Our money flow is ramping up. Our VWAP is pushing lower, and our momentum's coming out with a red dot. So overall, the 1 hour looks pretty bearish here. Finally, for SHIB, we are just like trending sideways and dumping. This would be more of a descending wedge, actually. Descending wedge would be a bullish pattern. So we could actually see an upside from this eventually. Won't get too excited to see it soon though. We could ride it all the way down, and then it could end up just breaking us back to the support resistance area. Our RSI is starting to trend out. Stochastic has a bearish cross. Our money flow is trending away. Our VWAP struggling to get bullish momentum, at least strong bullish momentum. Our momentum does want to come up, but with the VWAP being so weak, it's likely to push lower, so we could continue to trend down for a little bit. We have quite a few manipulation X's that want to push us down away from our resistance area, so that could take us toward our support, and then possibly see our third touch to the bottom and a push up. Our stochastic's starting to roll away. RSI is starting to roll away. Our VWAP's starting to come out, and our momentum's starting to come down. So we do have some pretty decent bearish momentum. So I would be cautionary, and I would watch if we manage to make a bounce before you make any kind of moves. Our stochastic's starting to roll away on the 2 hour. We have a manipulation X that wants to bring us down. Momentum is coming down. Our money flow is trending out. We are about to test that neutral, and our VWAP's coming down, so I would watch the next few candles closely. Over on the 1 hour, RSI is trending out, stochastic has a bearish cross. Our money flow is in the bullish territory, but it's not very strong, and our VWAPs are rejecting away from neutral with our momentum. So if the money flow flops over, we could see that downside and see our third touch to the bottom. However, if our VWAP manages to gain some strength and our money flow continues up, we could break out sooner rather than later. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a wonderful night.